Hello and welcome to the Anderson County US 62 Project Public Presentation. The in-person meeting was held at the Anderson County High School on March 3rd. This online version covers all the materials presented at the meeting and explains how to submit your questions and comments. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, teamed with engineering consultants, are in the early design phase of the proposed reconstruction of US 62. The project would begin at the intersection of US 62 with Hilltop Drive and Bluebird Court and ends at the bridge over the Kentucky River. The corridor is broken into 4 segments to view it in greater detail with varying alternatives for improvement within each segment. Segment 1 is at Hilltop Drive intersection. Segment 2 begins just east of Hilltop Drive and continues to the Macklin Drive. Segment 3 begins east of Macklin Drive and ends west of Kentucky 1510 or Tyrone Road. Segment 4 begins at Kentucky 1510 and ends at the west end of the bridge over the Kentucky River. This section of US 62 is functionally classified as a rural major collector, connecting Lawrenceburg to Versailles and beyond. It is one of only 2 routes that cross the Kentucky River into Anderson County, the other route being the Bluegrass Parkway. Currently, portions of the route are characterized by little to no shoulders and inadequate sight distance. At the beginning of each roadway project, the Transportation Cabinet creates a purpose and needs statement to clearly identify why the project is needed and the objectives that will be important to address with any improvement. The purpose of the project is to improve the safety and mobility on US 62 from Hilltop Drive to the west end of the bridge over the Kentucky River, while maintaining driver expectancy and minimizing the impacts on the surrounding environment. The project corridor has been the scene of several collisions over the past 5 years, including 3 fatalities. In addition to routine commuters, the highway is also traveled by tourists to the Wild Turkey Distillery who may not be familiar with the area. The traffic for this portion of US 62 is expected to increase from the current 5,200 vehicles per day to 5,800 vehicles per day by 2040, with 10% of the traffic being trucks. An environmental study is done for each project to determine the environmental impacts the new construction might have. This can include impacting endangered species, encountering hazardous materials, affecting potential historic properties, encroaching on public property such as parks, and more. Initial investigations for this project have not revealed any environmental issues or concerns that would prevent any of the alternatives from moving forward. After the final alternatives are preliminarily identified, traffic noise analysis and archaeological studies will be completed. From 2016 to 2021, a total of 77 crashes were reported from Hilltop Drive to the Kentucky River Bridge. 45 crashes were reported from Hilltop Drive to Macklin Drive, including 17 rear ends, 10 angle, and 2 fatalities. 12 crashes were reported from Macklin to Kentucky 1510. Most of these were single vehicle crashes. 20 single vehicle crashes occurred on the hill near the Kentucky River Bridge. In addition to the no-build alternative, 2 construction alternatives have been considered for the project. Alternative 1 is the minor widening of the existing 2-lane highway that would involve a series of low-cost intersection, roadway departure, and turn lane safety improvements along the length of the corridor. The 2 roadway designs that may be used in Alternative 1 are: the 2-lane rural minor improvement design section includes 2 12-foot lanes, 4-foot shoulders with 2 feet paved, and a 4-foot ditch. The 3-lane rural minor improvement design section is similar to the 2-lane rural design section, but with an added 12-foot center turn lane. Alternative 2 is the more extensive widening improvement that would involve intersection modifications at Hilltop Drive, including a roundabout option, a 3-lane design section between Hilltop Drive and Alexandria Drive, shoulder widening, and intersection turn lane improvements between Alexandria Drive and Tyrone Road, and addressing a deficient horizontal curvature in the western approach to the Kentucky River Bridge. The roadway designs that may be used in Alternative 2 are: the 2-lane rural design section includes 2 12-foot lanes, 8-foot shoulders with 6 feet paved, and a 12-foot ditch. The 3-lane rural design section is similar to the 2-lane rural design section but adds a 14-foot center turn lane. The 3-lane urban design section uses the same lane widths and center turn lane with a curb, gutter, and a 5-foot sidewalk on both sides of the highway. Please know that the following few slides will contain several maps and graphics that may be hard to see in detail. They are available for separate viewing by using links on this website. In Segment 1, US 62 is proposed to be raised approximately 2 feet on the east side of Hilltop Drive intersection to improve sight distance with all of the alternatives. The proposed alternatives can also be constructed as a standalone project or as part of the proposed improvements to widen US 62 to 3 lanes in Segment 2. Alternative 1 is shown in white on the exhibits. Along with raising the grade at Hilltop Drive intersection, minor improvements would be made to the westbound left turn, adding additional signal heads and installing reflective backplates, and adding safety features for pedestrians. Improvements to signal timing and access management are also being considered. The cost for making this improvement is estimated at $330,000 for construction. Alternative 1 potentially impacts 5 properties. Alternative 2A, shown in red, involves lengthening the left turn lanes at the Hilltop Drive intersection with a 3-lane urban design section and raising the grade east of the intersection. Right turn lanes are also proposed to be constructed from eastbound US 62 to Hilltop Drive and westbound US 62 to Bluebird Court. Alternative 2A is the most expensive of the alternatives, with an estimated construction cost of $1,293,000. The alternative also impacts 20 properties. While Alternative 1 affects a more significant number of properties, most of the impacts are minor for reconstructing the existing sidewalks east of the intersection. Alternative 2B, shown in yellow, involves reconstructing the Hilltop Drive intersection with a mini roundabout that ties into a 3-lane urban design section just east of the intersection. Mini roundabouts operate almost identically to a regular single-lane roundabout. The only difference is that the physical central island is replaced with a smaller mountable island. The proposed roundabout would eliminate the existing traffic signal. Alternative 2A has an estimated construction cost of $465,000 and affects 7 properties. Segment 2 begins just east of Hilltop Drive and continues to Macklin Drive. Alternative 1 in white is a minor widening of US 62 to 3 lanes rule from Hilltop Drive to Alexandria Drive and then 2 lanes to Macklin Drive. Left turn lanes are also planned for Alexandria Drive, Star Hill Way, and Macklin Drive. The cost for making this improvement would be $2.4 million for construction. Alternative 1 potentially impacts 14 properties, including 1 relocation in Corn Golden Acres Trailer Park. Alternatives 2A and 2B are major widening options. Both are proposed to shift the alignment to the south side of US 62 and flatten the hillcrest east of the Hilltop Drive intersection. Both alternatives also propose to widen US 62 with a 3-lane urban design section from Hilltop Drive to Alexandria Drive. The primary difference between the alternatives is ending the sidewalks at Alexandria Drive or continuing the sidewalks to Macklin Drive. Both alternatives affect 21 properties, including 1 relocation in the trailer park. Alternative 2A in red proposes to widen US 62 to 3 lanes with curb, gutter, and sidewalks ending at Macklin Drive. The cost for making this improvement is estimated at $3.655 million for construction. Alternative 2B in green proposes to widen US 62 to 3 lanes with curb, gutter, and sidewalks to Alexandria Drive, and then continue with widening to 3 lanes with shoulders, no sidewalks from Alexandria Drive to Macklin Drive. The cost for making this improvement is estimated at $3.253 million for construction. Segment 3 begins east of Macklin Drive and ends west of Kentucky 1510 or Tyrone Road. Alternative 1 in white involves minor widening of the existing 2-lane with a left turn lane at Lock Road. The cost for making this improvement is estimated at $4.342 million for construction and potentially affects 12 properties with no relocations. Alternative 2 in red would widen US 62 to a 3-lane rural with a left turn lane at Lock Road. Then minor widening of the existing 2-lane would be done from Lock Road to Kentucky 1510. The cost for making this improvement is estimated at $4.205 million for construction and potentially affects 18 properties with no relocations. Segment 4 begins west of Kentucky 1510 and ends at the west end of the bridge over the Kentucky River. Alternative 1 in white continues the minor widening of US 62 to a 2-lane rural design section with 4-foot shoulders. The north edge of the shoulder is maintained and all the widening would occur on the south side. The proposed widening would also include improvements to the existing ditching and the rock cut from the top of the hill to the Kentucky River Bridge. The cost for making this improvement is estimated at $1.804 million for construction and potentially affects 4 properties with no relocations. Alternative 2 in red widens US 62 to the full 2-lane rural section with a left turn lane and sight distance improvements at Kentucky 1510 and Wild Turkey Distillery intersection. It also includes reconstructing the curves approaching the Kentucky River Bridge by shifting the highway into the hill on the south side. The cost for making this improvement is estimated at $4.294 million for construction and potentially affects 5 properties with no relocations. The current 6-year highway plan developed by the Cabinet and Legislature has $3.83 million for the right-of-way acquisition in the fiscal year 2023, $4.5 million for utility relocation in the fiscal year 2023, and $13.75 million for construction in fiscal year 2024. After this meeting, the design team will continue collecting information with the intent of identifying the preferred alternative later this year. Right-of-way plans will be submitted and the appraisal and acquisition process will begin in late 2023 or early 2024. Utility relocation work will likely start in late 2024, with roadway construction occurring from 2024 to 2026. At the in-person meeting, 2 forms were provided to those who attended. One was a brochure with a brief explanation of the project and some graphics that have been included in this presentation. Another form was a questionnaire where we asked for feedback and opinions on the alternatives and those preferred by the public for further consideration. Both of these forms are available as PDF downloads from this website. Please note the address and final date for sending it in by mail if you download and fill out the questionnaire. You can also use the interactive questionnaire and submit that electronically when completed. Please know that any information you provide will be kept confidential and you are not required to provide any information that makes you uncomfortable. Additional contact names, email addresses, and phone numbers are also provided if you need to reach us. We would like to thank you for viewing this presentation and look forward to reading your responses to the questionnaire or receiving any questions or comments that you may have.